I'm the scat man. I'm the scat man.
Welcome to Covers This Puck Props. I'm Josh Ingles, and we've traded. Trade deadline day. Alert. Carlo Colaiacovo has been traded for Todd Cordell. Writer, covers, New Jersey Devils, absolute guru. What was the trade? One more CPAP controller to add to Carlo's list. Insight says, hey, Todd. So the pumpers say hi to Todd. Todd's going to get us through the slate today, get us some winners on a day that, let's be honest, I have a Ryan Donato bet. It could be voided. Like there's a lot of avenues in how to bet today. Any insight or anything that you're worried about to getting stuff in early, or are we going to wait till 3:00 for a lot of stuff?
I'm just kind of avoiding dangerous situations, if you will, of guys who would get bumped out of their spots or moved down the lineup, that sort of thing. And I'm targeting people who have a very stable role and they'll play the same role tonight, basically regardless of what happens.
Yeah, so there's always the other advantage, right? So someone's gone. You're like, okay, where's he going? Where's he going to play? But in a lot of the cases, the best value is for the guy who's going to fall into that spot. The only problem is finding a guy who has a market to fall into that spot. So got to know the secondary guys playing. I mean, someone like, let's say Lawton goes. I mean, he was centering the Konechny line with Kuzmenko. Like, that's a pretty good spot with they're splitting the power play. So that's a good spot. Find out who jumps in there. Hopefully they don't break up the Cates, Brink, and Forrester line. But, I mean, we'll see how that goes. And by 3:00, everything will be settled. I don't know if there's an advantage. I'm betting guys who are on the block who don't get traded, right? Like, wouldn't that be something? Like, go through this whole week of just getting grinded, Todd, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I can keep my family and my kids in the school. Like, wouldn't you probably be playing a good game of hockey?
You would think so. There would definitely be some relief.
Yeah, 100%. So lots of stuff. Producer Mick's keeping this comment up longer, so I tell you pumpers to absolutely nuke that like button, comment, share, subscribe. Friday in the books. Let's go. Where do I get a covers hat? Chip Plier. It's a good question. Producer
That is a good
Mick,
question.
That is a good question.
I need a covers hat.
Yeah, I need one with my great hair, but that is a good question. We'll try to get maybe some cover swag out going forward after the trade deadline. Once that dust settles, maybe get some stuff going. Let's get to it. It was a funky one yesterday on the show. I mean, 7 goals from Colorado, and we didn't get anything from the second line. That sucked. We got half of the Suzuki line. That sucked. Hedman was injured 2 minutes into the game. That's a big one. I had him for an assist, but the stacks absolutely keep pounding. So keep an eye on that. Tim Powell says, love Todd's shot on goal plays. Thank you very much, Tim. And at the top, Bobby Newport. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, Bobby. So pumpers are pumping. Let's get to it. Winnipeg, New Jersey. We'll start off with your bread and butter. Everything presented by Sports Interaction off the top. Here we go. Hughes is done. We know that. I think we knew that, and it took him a long time to come out with the injury, right? Like, we knew on the Sunday that it was bad, and we didn't hear till later that he was out. Hamilton, injured. He has been ruled out for tonight. And all of a sudden, your Devils, Todd, have a second line of Palat, Mercer, and Tatar. Maybe, arguably, the 2 worst top second line wingers. I don't know how you feel about them, but that's how I feel. Plus 1,200 to plus 600, New Jersey to go to miss the playoffs. 4 points up on the Blue Jackets for 4th in the Metro. 1 more game played, but they do have the 11th easiest schedule going down the stretch. What's the level of panic for New Jersey right now? And it looks like they're buyers. Can they buy themselves out of this hole?
I would say the panic level is pretty high. The Devils, basically since Christmas, they've won 2 games in a row, I think once. They've been extremely inconsistent. They haven't been able to score with any consistency, and that's with Jack Hughes in the lineup producing well over a point a game. So you take that out, and it's only going to get worse, obviously. The defense generally has been pretty good, and the goaltending has been really good as well. So from those aspects, like they still have enough to be competitive. But without Jack Hughes, winning a round even is going to be very challenging, let alone contending. Obviously, they're still planning on buying. Why? I don't really know. I'd be cool with it if they were buying players more with term who can kind of keep them afloat this year, but also make them better for future years. But they added Dumoulin yesterday, and that's a pure rental. So we'll see what they end up doing.
It is interesting because if you were a seller right now, you could be making absolute bank in terms of, I mean, there's only like 2 sellers. If Buffalo's not selling, there's one team in the East that's selling right now. It's pretty sad. All right. The chat's kind of going crazy here, looking for cover swag. I don't know if we have some of the things that you guys are talking about in there, but Bobby Newport, we'll get to that one. We're talking about the Tuevo. Yeah, I don't even try to spell Teravainen. I apologize, Po Degen Stoner. But Donato Teravainen, wait till after 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because what will happen is if Donato gets traded, then they'll void the Donato leg, but then you'll get Teravainen without, you don't know who he's going to play with. So wait for that one. And I got to play. Those are the ones, if you're stacking, make sure to find out, because lots of guys, you'd hate to see them play with crap lines, and it would just ruin some stacks. So outside of this game, I'm going to go Dawson Mercer over 1.5 shots on goal, -110. Don't play a lot of shot on goal stuff, but there's a lot of stuff I think that's not priced into this, and getting a 1.5 at this price is pretty good. 4 shots in goal, 20 minutes time on ice in that first game without Hughes, and I think they only had 37 seconds time on ice on the power play 1, which he's been promoted to. He goes from playing with Timo Meier and Nico Hischier to Palat and Tatar, and that just kind of really changes the shot mentality on that line in terms of who's going to shoot this puck. Yeah, Palat, Tatar, they're kind of chasers. So Dawson Mercer might be asked more to do so, and if he gets some more power play time, looking for him to maybe get some net front wax on that power play. You kind of looking at the other side, Dougie Hamilton out. You're going Luke Hughes, same prop, over 1.5 shots on goal, -130, correct?
Yes. So Luke Hughes was playing on the top pairing actually with Dougie Hamilton the past couple of games, was playing 24, 25 minutes a night. And that was without PP1 time, which is now available with Hamilton out. So I think honestly, he could be playing 26, 27, 28 minutes, top power play, all situations. And also it's a decent matchup. The Jets obviously are a good defensive team, but they've given up the 3rd most shots to defensemen the past 10 games, and they're in a back-to-back situation. So Hughes is a great skater. He'll attack any space that's there. He's aggressive, and the Devils need all the offense they can get from the back end with the way the forwards have been playing, especially now not having his brother Jack. So I really like Luke Hughes tonight. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, these are the angles you find in hockey because they don't get priced quickly. Right? Like you're still on game 2 of the lineup without Jack Hughes and game 1 without Hamilton. And you're seeing, I mean, things just move rather slowly in the NHL in terms of markets. Got to wait for that Josh stack sheet. Yeah. You got to wait until everybody's done the morning skate. And there's a lot of West Coast games. So you're like looking at 3 o'clock and it's time to pick up the kids. And the wife's like, let's go. What are you writing down? And what are you highlighting? I'm like, they're stacks, babe. She doesn't get it. She doesn't get it. Assortment of gel pens? No. I'm lucky to have 2 highlighters, and that's it. That's why there's two highlighted colors on that sheet. That game's the books. Winnipeg. And you get Connor Hellebuck too. You almost got New Jersey. You almost got the Casey DeSmith game and Eric Comrie in back-to-back games, but you didn't. They put Comrie yesterday. You get Hellebuck today. So that's going to be a good one to see what fight New Jersey has in them here on the Friday. Pittsburgh, Vegas. Vegas is a wagon. Yeah. Like the Toronto game, I get it. Toronto was in a really bad schedule spot, but when they get Shea Theodore back, this team's going to be an absolute nightmare to play against. And we've loaded 2 plays on this game. And I'm going back to the well. They're playing Pittsburgh today, who maybe has the worst goalie situation in hockey right now. They don't know what they're doing. They could be trading some big assets. Rickard Rakell could be gone. Let's go. Noah Hannafin for an assist. +140. It was +150 versus Toronto. I don't think it's really changed in price. I mean, the 10 points, I think, is matchup based here versus Pittsburgh at home. But power play's been hot. He's got multiple points in back-to-back-to-back games. There's a lot to like about him and his minutes right now, and there's a lot of value in finding those defensemen who are stepping into roles like Luke Hughes, as you mentioned, like Zach Jones. Who else have we bet on? Brady Shea. Stepped into those roles as well.
Yeah.
So I'm on the Hannafin assist. Power plays 5 for 10 over the last 3 games. They might not take a lot of penalties, but bottom 4 penalty kill last 30 days for Pittsburgh. You're going top line. Mark Stone, minus 115 for an assist here.
Yeah, so it's pretty cut and dry. The Penguins, they suck defensively. They give up a ton of goals. They can't keep the puck out of the net. They haven't the entire season. Only San Jose's given up more goals, and they've been trotting out Georgiev and Vanasek for a while, so that tells you a lot. The Penguins are selling, obviously, at the deadline, so they're already poor lineups, getting even worse. They're plucking guys out. Guys are accepting that the season's obviously going nowhere. And Stone obviously has an elite role on the top line with Jack Eichel, as well as on the top power play with Hurdle, Eichel, Dorofeev. Stone has an assist in 53% of his games this year, but he's missed in 5 straight. Before this stretch, his season-long drought was 3 games. So he's reached about his ceiling, given his role and matchup for how long he can go without getting an assist. He's also had an assist in 62% of his wins this year. And Vegas obviously is heavy favorites tonight at home against Pittsburgh. So I think it's a good spot to get back on track.
Oh, I wish you could just read these comments. I know it looks like, and the comments are all green, like Pittsburgh's giving up, fire Sully. Everybody just kind of wants to fade Pittsburgh right now. And one of my favorite angles about fading Pittsburgh today is that game versus Toronto on Sunday, which was maybe my favorite early Sunday hockey game I think I've ever watched. 6-5 overtime. Matthew Nye scores with 0.1 seconds left right at the buzzer. Awesome game. They probably got in trouble. They came out. They played a decent game versus Colorado. They lost 4-1, but it was a close game for the majority of it. So that's like their comeback game. You know what I mean? That's the game where they're saying, okay, we got to give an effort. They gave their effort. Now they can give up again. There's Daddy Sharpbet talking about your Devils. Devils are hosed. Got them to not make the playoffs at 10-1, March 3rd, already down to 600. Putting more on that one today. Mother B word. Thank you. Stone is due. Completely agree. He's hit his no assist ceiling. Thank you, Bobby Newport. If you're looking for stacks, Dorofeev and Hurdle has been an absolute cash cow. That's plus 160 right now. Pens should be even worse come 3 p.m. There he is, Jared Hockman. Absolutely. Right?
Yep.
And it'll be interesting. It's like, I don't know if people will be able to recall people so late. Like, you wouldn't want to tip your hand and say, we're recalling somebody at like 2:00 before you make a trade.
Yeah.
So I don't know how quick you can bring people up. Like yesterday, the day before, it's like Jacob Wallman will not be playing today. Like, that's more difficult. So maybe they can bring some reserves, but who knows? Ooh, sad. 500. Boog, I can't say half the things you put in that chat live. I appreciate it, though. Hell of a humorous man. Love it. Let's move. Utah, Chicago. Donato. So I wanted Donato and Tuevo, but if Donato gets traded, I don't want Tuevo by himself for like even money. So we're going for the same thing we did the other day. 0.2 shots on goal, plus 130. It's the exact same price. He had 3 shots on goal. He had the point the other game. Gets Utah, back-to-back game. Might be a night start. Sorry, it is a night start, but I'm not too worried about it. This is like Donato has points in 10 of his last games since February 1st. I've been banging the drum like someone needs to buy this guy. He's got another year on his term. He's cheap. He's a scoring second-line centerman who can play PP1 minutes. And this is the guy who is absolutely leading this team in offense. Why? Because Connor Bedard has 0 points in his last 7 games.
I don't want to talk about Bedard.
It's wild. I mean, he's out there playing with Colton Dock and Frank Nazar. It's sad what they're doing to him, but it's the Donato wagon for me in this spot. And then you guys know me too well there. Gunther and Hayton stack hit yesterday, playing it again, plus 170. That's just an easy one. It might be a Spencer Knight start, but like he's not stopping 41 to 42 again. He's a great goalie, but Chicago is one of the worst expected goals against teams in all of hockey. They could be worse too coming into tonight. And you're touching a piece of this with one of your shots on goal parlays here that people were talking about earlier, Todd. You're going to go Hayton, 2 shots on goal. Absolutely love it. It's well priced. Like his 3 shots on goal is like big plus money.
Yeah,
His role's been big. And Ovechkin 3+ shots on goal for -120. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, Hayton actually shoots a lot more when he's playing with Genther and Kerfoot than when he was playing with Keller and Schmaltz. That line has just been absolutely rolling at 5-5. They don't see the toughest matchups, especially on the road. So they've just been caving teams in. The Hawks give up the most shots in the league. They're bottom 3 in shots per game against centers. They give up a ton of shots in the home plate, like high danger area, which is where Hayton posts up all the time at 5-5 and on the power play. Like he's been on the top power play lately. They actually moved Cooley off that unit. So it's a great positional matchup. And the Hawks are dead last in shot share the past 10 games. They just traded Jones. They're probably going to trade more guys. Utah has been rolling since they got Marino and Dursey back and Genther back and Cooley back. They're 6th in shot share, actually, the past 10 games. So I think this is a game where Utah could outshoot them, 40-20, that sort of thing. And with top 6 minutes in a power play 1 spot, 2 shots doesn't seem like much to ask. I like him for 3 shots as well at plus money. But I was getting a bit creative and playing it safe by also getting Ovechkin, because Ovechkin has averaged 5.2 shots and 12.8 attempts at home since the 4 Nations break. He is just teeing off like never before right now. And with him chasing Gretzky, obviously he has plenty of incentive to keep doing that.
So it touches on both things I like, and you kind of mentioned it too. Second line on the road. You just get the easier matchups.
Yep.
Like the Hayton and Gunther line will get the secondary matchups. It's fantastic. And then you get Ovechkin at home, and he gets the best matchup, getting last change at home. So it's a really good combination there. Any shot on goal plays for the D-men of St. Louis? They play the Ducks. Looked at it. It is, off the top of my head. Why can I not think of who
Falk?
is? No, he's on. Falk is the D-man for
The Blues?
No, for PP2, not the. They're running They're running the Thomas Buchnevich one, kind of like 55-45 right now. They're getting the offensive first zone start, and then the Kyrou Shen. So that one could be a mess, anyways. That line, that's who the Falk line is. I believe it's Cam Fowler, but I don't think he has any shot on goal markets, which is silly. That I went there first. Yeah, Cam. Past tense, the past tense of Cam. All the Blackhawk lines are all of the Blackhawk lines are secondary. I wouldn't even call it secondary. I'd call it tertiary. I just wanted to say I knew the word. With Shen uncertainty, is Kyrou Holloway the stack? It's just a wait and see. We'll know past 3:00. It's not a crazy rush. And then all of a sudden, then you get a Braden Shen who's like I already touched on. You get a guy who gets to keep his family in St. Louis. Doesn't have to move his family, his kid, doesn't have to go get his wife to look at different schools, right? Like the level of relief is crazy. And if Carlo was here, like what it goes through a family must be absolutely insane.
I can't imagine, because I moved twice last year and that sucked. And I wasn't moving, from St. Louis to possibly Toronto or something drastic like that. So I can't imagine just uprooting everyone in the middle of a season on a whim like that.
Is camming the active form? That's called the continuous form, Boog. That is the ing continuous. He is camming. That's the word. So it's an educational show today.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. What would be the worst trade? Like, where's the worst destination right now in hockey? Like, if you were to go, you're like, all right, babe, you got a family, you got kids. You're like, keep them here. Like going to war. Like, keep them here, keep them safe. You keep your life here. I'll go. And I'll just go rent, and I'll be back. Where's got to be the worst place? Like Minnesota's cool. Like Minnesota's a cool
Pittsburgh.
City. So like, who came over in the Bunting trade?
Novak and Shen.
Like, okay, so is that the worst move right there? Like, and it's a neutral trade that you're not even going to a winning team.
Yeah, Shen's probably at home right now, like praying for his name to pop up on Trade Center.
Oh, sorry. Mike Swingle says, Buffalo, I live here. Nice. That's good. Yeah, but they're not even going to trade, right? And and we were talking about it yesterday with Carlo. They don't want to trade. They signed Jordan Greenway to
What was that? What was that?
Carlo was saying it's because they have no locker room guys. Like they have no culture guys.
You can get a culture guy for cheaper than $4 million a year.
Get a Pat Maroon. Like Pat Maroon's the culture guy, right?
Yeah.
And then he left the game because he was sick.
Nice.
He hasn't played more than 67 games in like 6 seasons. But
Buffalo
hey, let's
Sabres hockey.
Oh, it's absolutely awful. We got the hate and we got the Ovechkin one in. You got one more play here. Detroit, Washington minus 220. Big OT win over the Rangers last game. How do I know that? Because I bet on the Rangers. It sucked. Talbot has been bad. I think it was Alex Leon's start. And Talbot has a 351 goals against, 863 save percentage over his last 5 starts. Outshot heavily last night. I think Utah put 41 shots on Detroit last night. So
they were peppering.
My guy, Connor McMichael. I liked him all year. That second line's looking good. The PLD and the Wilson line with him. He's power play too, but that secondary line looking pretty good. What do you got on McMichael today?
Yeah, as you were saying, Wilson, Dubois, and McMichael have been absolutely dominating at 5-5. McMichael at times this year has been put up with Ovechkin for like a game or two here and there, and it's kind of sucked, honestly. Their numbers both tail off, and then when he gets put back down on the second line, they go way up again. So I love him on the second line. The Wings goaltending, as you mentioned, is tailed off. I think Cam Talbot did the exact same thing last year. He was in the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken. And then in the second half of the year, he was complete garbage, just like he has been.
They were talking about Cam Talbot being Canada's starter at the Four Nations, right? Like,
and then he's doing the exact same thing again now this year. It's a road back-to-back. And then McMichael has a point in 70% of his home games this year, which is crazy. And then the Caps are minus 200 favorites. McMichael, he doesn't play on the top power play, but Ovechkin kind of plays through both power plays. So he does still get some run with Ovechkin, who obviously did his feed, and he scores every single game, it feels like. So it's a really good matchup at 5-5. It's a great matchup on the power play where the Wings are abysmal on the kill. The goaltending struggling, and it just seems like they're coming back down to earth a bit. So I like McMichael.
Yeah, people in chat saying the Detroit stacks have absolutely fallen off. Yeah, and they're not worth buying anymore. When we were getting Kanan DeBrincat at like plus 220. Now it's plus 130, and Larkin and Raymond is like minus 110. Not worth it at those prices. And that's all stacks are right now. Is it a price you can buy? Yes. I mean, Kotkaniemi and Taylor Hall yesterday was a stack, plus 500. 2 guys, take it and run with it. You don't show favoritisms to stacks. It's just prices. Keep them out of your mouth. Book's giving me a lesson in teaching. Thank you. Minus. Oh no, you never play minus stacks. Play I'll play Hintz and Robertson right now plus 110. That's about as low as I go. Raymond left his last game at the Four Nations. Yeah, he could be playing through stuff too. Detroit just trying to find a way. Detroit should be sellers.
Yeah, they should. They also shouldn't have traded a 3rd-round pick with Jake Wallman for no reason last year. And then Wallman's fetching a first.
Ooh, asset management.
Yeah, good job. The eyes are playing.
And then you got Buffalo on the other side's got 2 number 1 overall pick defensemen and a number 4 pick in Boa Byram, and they can't get anything for them. They can get something for them, but they don't want to trade. Like, you have to have 2. You're running 3 defensemen on your power plays. Like, that's awful.
That's Lindy Ruff hockey for you.
Just like it's so unprogressive. It's just, old school hockey. Where is Troy Terry? Who knows? Anaheim scares me.
Yeah, I actually have some thoughts on him. I had him written down, but I would want Binnington not starting. Hofer has been way worse than Binnington has. And especially with Binnington, he played so well at the Four Nations, and then he's kind of picked up where he left off, and his high danger save percentage is super high. And the Blues haven't been giving up that many chances, actually. So I would need Hofer to be starting for Terry.
Yeah, and usually we stack them all together with Terry, Vetrano, and Strome, so you got to get them all. It's a tough one. But, I mean, some of those games where there's line correlations with like 3 different stacks, it's almost like they all cancel each other out because they're all playing like in Vancouver. I think I had a Vancouver play? Did I have a Vancouver play? I think I did somewhere. No, I think it was a wait. It's a wait. Sorry, it's a wait and see. I had it written up. It's a Brock Besser and Jake DeBrusk one, so I got to wait to see if Besser still stands. But those guys are running 3 lines right now, and it kind of takes away the value of all those guys when those guys are all playing like 9 minutes at even strength. So you don't really enjoy. You gotta get guys like Montreal who are just so top heavy. You're like, okay, Slav, Suzuki, Caulfield over the boards.
Yeah,
Pettersson forward. Boog, you smart bastard. I like when people put the F next to Pettersson's name. Finally got on the stat sheet. No, he didn't. It was the defenseman the other day. It was Pettersson defenseman who got the assist. Yeah, you lose. We were talking about it yesterday. Fate Sharks tomorrow. First game home after that long road trip. The Carlo Honeydew angle. Honeydew is such a...
I don't even think you need an angle to fade the Sharks. They're facing anyone any given day. Just fade them.
But that Eklund and Toffoli line cashed again.
Yeah. I mean, fade their goaltending, I should say.
80%. That stack has cashed since February 1st. Always get a point. And then the Celebrini Will Smith one, if they start opening up that market for Will Smith. All right, Todd, I think we've touched on a lot of bases. It's a busy day. Like I said, try to find some angles in terms of where those trades are. Don't worry about where that guy's going. Worry about who's stepping into his spot, because that will be the one where you can probably find the most angle. That's my angle. Love Zetterlund. Yes, the Zetterlund and no, he doesn't have a stack because he's playing with Smith and Celebrini.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Like, edit. And then I'm looking at the chat. Sorry, Todd, and like trying to clean things up. And then Poe DJ Stoner says, when did breakfast burrito become mainstream breakfast like Burger King croissant in the 80s? Burger King croissant with bacon? That was tough to beat. That was the 90s. I enjoyed that. Does losing Nico Sturm hurt the Sharks? No.
In the face-off circle, maybe. That's about it.
Yeah. This slate sucks. I don't mind this slate. It's trade deadline day. All right. Any finishing words? Todd, anything you didn't touch on that maybe you wanted to touch on?
Yes. If Quinn Hughes doesn't play, I almost certainly like Philip Hronek 2 shots. He's hit every single game that Hughes hasn't played. He plays like 26 minutes a game and takes the PP1 spot. So if Hughes is out, look for that later in the day.
That's awesome. That's a good call. I actually was kicking myself missing it. I think he had 2 assists. He had 2 points. Like, you can point ladder Hronek 2 assists. I think that's a good one. Before y'all go, I think Hanifin for 2 points is good. I've been back on the 2-point parlays, guys. Can't talk about them. I'm trying to keep them to myself, but Canadian bacon or regular? Regular bacon, but it's Burger King. Yeah. All right. Keep an eye on the moves. Appreciate it, Todd. Todd's the rental, so he's back to free agency, but we appreciate it. He's going to grind with us until the end of the year. And Carlo will be sitting there in his 7-piece suit with perfect posture on TSN today, and we'll get no undershirt Carlo back for Wednesday. And don't worry, he'll be 1 CPAP controller heavier. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Todd Cordell. This is NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction. Enjoy the weekend.